Good morning, my name is Will Stone. I am part of the movement which is the Take Back Control movement. You can find them on the peoplesbailiffs.co.uk. You can find them on takebackcontrol.vote. You can also find them on Motivate Radio FM.co.uk. The question is, who are the White Dragons? Who is the People's Bailiffs? And who the hell and what the hell are we here for? We are a people's movement who will take back control of this country for the people. How will we take back control? Well, we'll do this by using the rule of law, common law, which is very simple. No loss, no harm, no injury. Why do we think we can do this? We can do this because the tyranny that has destroyed this country for the last 70 years or more has hidden the real law of this country and introduced false laws called statutes for their own gain. In doing what they have done, many, if not all, government officers of all levels have broken their solemn oaths and in many cases have committed treason. How will the White Pendragons deliver a people's government? They'll do this through the legal process. The Queen will be impelled to dissolve government due to the breaking of oaths, etc. A new election will have to be called, and that is where the people come in. By backing the White Pendragons, people's candidates to take control of the country. What will the People's Parliament give to the people? I don't even like calling it a parliament because that still conjures up images of pathetic, useless politicians. But it may be called the People's Parliament. What will we give to the people? Massive changes. Changes that people have been calling for ages and been ignored by the fake governments who care absolutely nothing for the people. A new monetary system using the Bradbury pound and a new Hong Kong style tax system will be introduced. Looking after the indigenous people of the country, looking after veterans, the homeless, the elderly and the youngsters, their education. Making sure that they don't have to pay to go to university, which is a massive, massive thing in this country. We'll actually be introducing a non-brainwashing education system where you're told the truth and are prepared for the real world and much, much more. As I said, you can join the Take Back Control, the White Pendragons, the People's Bailiffs, whichever name you wish to attach to us, at the peoplesbailiffs.co.uk, takebackcontrol.vote, and you can see transmissions and what we're all about on Motivate, which is MOTIV and the number 8, so that's Motivate Radio FM.co.uk. Now I'd just like to tell you or read you an article from a newspaper today, or yesterday I believe it was, because we say that these things haven't been hitting the mainstream media. Well, things have started to hit the mainstream media and people will suddenly think, oh, those people were right all that time. I'd like to read you this from the Daily Express, and it's as follows. England is in the middle of a profoundly disturbing social experiment. For the first time in a mature democracy, a government is waging a campaign of aggressive discrimination against its indigenous population. In the name of cultural diversity, Labour attacks anything that smacks of Englishness. If you're hearing any funny noises, I'm afraid that's my parrot who's sitting next to me. The mainstream public are treated with contempt. Their rights ignored, their history trashed in their own land. Their English are being turned into second-class citizens. This trend was highlighted this week by the case of Abigail Howarth, a bright teenager who applied for a training position with the Environment Agency in East Anglia, but was turned down because she was too white and English. The post, which carries a £13,000 grant, was open only to ethnic minorities, including the Scots, Welsh and Irish. So it appears it's English, or the Englishness, that they want to eradicate from the earth. Such social engineering was justified by the agency on the grounds that minorities were underrepresented in its workforce. The parrot cry, used by bureaucrats throughout the public sector to justify bias against the English. Though Abigail's case rightly caused outrage, it was not unique. This kind of reverse discrimination is now rife across the state machine, underwritten by the very English taxpayers who are the targets of institutional prejudice. Although it is technically illegal to restrict jobs to certain ethnic groups, the racially fixated commissars have found a way round that problem by developing training schemes open only to minorities. Under the 1976 Race Relations Act, it is permissible to use racial considerations in recruitment to trainee positions, such as the one to which Abigail applied. Such practices are dressed up as positive action to widen diversity, and in the words of one Labour council, to overcome past discrimination. So Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs officers work experience jobs worth up to £15,900 a year pro rata to ethnic minority graduates, while the Museums Association has a 2-year ethnic minority apprenticeships. Similarly, Birmingham City Council gives £16,000 a year to black and minority ethnic individuals in its Positive Action trainee scheme, and a £10,000 allowance to clerical trainees from the Bangladeshi and Pakistani communities. Discriminatory training schemes can also be found in ITV, the Civil Service and the NHS, which boasts a management development programme specifically designed and tailored to the needs of black and minority ethnic midwives. It was revealed last year that Avon and Somerset Constabulary rejected 186 applications from white men on the grounds that they were already overrepresented in the force. In the same way, London Mayor Ken Livingstone, obviously this is a little older than I realised, refused to endorse a series of nominations for the London Fire Authority because they were dominated by whites. Whole towns are beginning to suffer state disapproval. 80 administrative jobs in the prison service have recently been transferred from Corby in Northamptonshire to Leicester, because as the Home Office admitted, Corby's population is predominantly white British, a terrible sin in our multicultural society. It is a bitter irony that the Labour government, which works itself into such a synthetic rage over racial prejudice, should practice overt discrimination on an epic scale. The remorseless focus on supporting minorities has led to a perverted ideology of anti-white racism. Almost every interaction with any public service now leads to a detailed analysis of one's ethnic status. A vast race equality industry has been built up, filled with overpaid paper shufflers, consultants and advisors, with little to do except invent new grievances. There is an air of Maoist permanent revolution about their activities, since immigration now runs at probably 1 million people a year. The makeup of society is changing dramatically. So in this climate of endless demographic upheaval, the Race Relations Brigade will always be able to invent more work for itself. Yet anti-English discrimination undermines the central plank of the propaganda for mass immigration. We are constantly told we need vast influxes of foreigners to boost our economy and fill vacancies. But unemployment levels in immigrant communities are so high and skills so lacking that we need to reserve parts of our economy for them. So if we have to spend a fortune on training schemes, why are we inviting hundreds of thousands of arrivals from the Third World and Eastern Europe here every year? Economics have very little to do with it. The left in Britain have seized on mass immigration and multiculturalism as a battering ram to destroy the society they despise. They once sought to change our country through economic revolution. That failed with the winter of discontent and the downfall of communism. But demographic change through migration has proved far more damaging. George Orwell once wrote, "England is perhaps the only country whose intellectuals are ashamed of their own nationality." In left-wing circles, it's always felt that there is something slightly disgraceful in being an Englishman, and that it is a duty to snigger at every English institution. That is now precisely the mentality that predominates within the machinery of the British state, and our country is dying as a result. I think you will agree that this was actually done a long time ago. I actually didn't realise the date on it. This was actually done on August the 9th, 2007 by Leo McKinstry, a British journalist and author. Now you just think about it, that was 10 years ago, and things are probably 100 times worse now. This is why we need you to join our movement, which intends to have candidates enter Parliament at the next election, to win the next election. We are going to be a people's movement. Sorry, I had brain freeze there. A people's movement that is only interested in what the people want. Okay, we're not going to give you £1 million each so that you can travel around the world. That isn't conceivable, is it, really? But we want to improve your lives, make life worth living, so you can enjoy your life in safety, without any kind of fear. Not worried about whether you've got a roof over your head. Make sure that homeless people are given homes. There's a multitude of changes that we will make, and every single one will be to help the English ordinary person. We're not interested in becoming fat cat politicians like they're in there at the moment. We're doing this because we love our country and no other reason. So please come along to the People's Bailiffs, that is Peoples with an S and Bailiffs with an S, .co.uk. Come to takecontrol.vote and have a look at Motivate, MOTIV, the number 8, Motivate Radio, FM.co.uk. We are ordinary people and we want to take back control with a very simple policy, and that is to work by the rule of law, common law. No loss, no harm, no injury. That is what this country is founded on, and that is what the law still is. But it has been hidden by deceit, lies, you name it, they've done it to hide it. Well, it's coming back to bite them on the bum now. Thank you for listening to this. Please come and have a look at us, because we're for you, we're for the people. We're not left, we're not right, we're not interested in that. We just want to get good lives ourselves and to give good lives to other people like ourselves. Thank you very much indeed for listening. Goodbye now.